The content in my podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and does not substitute professional medical advice or consultation with the healthcare professionals. If you feel like you need professional help, please seek that. Good evening, beautiful people, and welcome back to the Be Better For You podcast, Becoming Better Human Beings, where we talk about, I let you guys come along on my journey on becoming a better human being and the best version of yourselves, and share with you some of the things that I went through, some of the tools that I used, and I don't know, just try to help people out. I believe that is the purpose. That is my purpose. If I can just help one person, then I feel like I'm a success. But getting back to the podcast and getting back to the purpose. On the first episode, I walked you all through the catalyst and what started it off for me. 2024 was the worst year of my life. I was going through some work anxieties and stresses. And then the culmination, or the crescendo, if you will, got hit with an unwanted divorce that tore me down, broke me down to my core. Lost sense of self, and through the rubble, worked to try to rebuild myself and work on myself and be better on the things that I acknowledged that I lacked on. But through that, and through this journey that I started, I've gotten to know myself better, and I've gotten to understand myself better, and I'm working on becoming the very best person that I can be, and I feel like I'm getting that way. I feel just through this I feel wonderful. I'm able to express what I need now instead of feeling ashamed or letting pride get in the way. But it's a wonderful feeling. I want everybody to share that feeling, and I want everybody to be better for their themselves and their partners, so that they can enjoy life the way it's supposed to be lived. But as we talk on this episode, I'll walk you guys through just some of the things that I did that I feel like helped me out and helped me get through this journey and helped me get to the point where I am, where I feel like I am the best version I've been ever. But when we talk about becoming the best version of ourselves, something I do want to say off top, because I don't want people to misunderstand what I'm saying. When you become the best version of yourself, you still can experience all of the emotions. Like you're still allowed to get angry. You're still allowed to get sad. The only difference is when you become your best version of yourself, and you experience those emotions, you become more aware of them, and you're able to understand the circumstances that surround it, putting you in that position. And hopefully you have a journal to where you can jot down, all the things that was going on then, so that as your best version of yourself, you're able to identify it and know your triggers, so that when life's up and downs, start to hit you, it doesn't affect you as much. You're able to get through it and get past it, faster. So, and you have more resilience towards it, if that makes sense. But as we continue this journey on self evolution, I had some people reach out to me to ask how I started, or where I started, and I'm going to use a quote from my favorite movie, the Wizard of Oz, when Dorothy first landed and she was getting ready to take off to go down the yellow brick road. She didn't know where to begin, so she asked, where do I start? And Glinda the Good Witch yelled out, or told her, it's always best to start at the beginning. So the beginning of that journey, starts at the beginning of the yellow brick road of growth. And by the end of it, to reach your best version of yourself, you end up at the Emerald City where life's all glittery and shiny for you and filled with happiness. But along the way, as I go through my journey with you and share my ups and downs, there's going to be there's going to be a lot of things that are tossed your way, a lot of obstacles that you're going to have to overcome, and a lot of things that you find about yourself along the way, a lot of things that are flying at you, like the angry flying monkeys from the Wizard of Oz. But there's going to be a lot of obstacles that come your way that you got to have a lot of resilience for, to be able to overcome. And then ultimately what you'll see, or what you'll end up finding out, is that everything that I'm talking about, you had inside you all along. You just got to open up, and then start thinking in a different way, because you can't use the same thinking that got you into the old version of yourself to get you out of it. So for me, that started, for my journey. My journey started with working on, like three major things. Working on getting my mind right, the brain, my heart right, and building up the courage to look myself in the face, to own up to all of my inefficiencies and inadequacies, and all the things that I was lacking. So those three things will help get you through. So first thing I started with, of course, was my mindset. And to be honest, that's where your work begins, but that's probably where you're going to have the most battles at, because man, when you're working on something this deep and transformational, the brain and the ego are going to try to box you, and they're going to try to fight you back, because like you're not working on tweaking little habits. When it comes to this right here, you're working on a whole new identity, and your identity is based off of beliefs. That's where we get our identity from: our beliefs and our experiences, what we experience through life. And over the years, you've experienced things, and people have told you things, and you grew up in certain situations, and you've observed different people. So your beliefs are what they are, and those beliefs can either help you through, or they can hinder you, based off of what you believe. But man, the brain is gonna fight you. But the quicker you are able to form your own more empowering beliefs, the quicker you get to the best version of yourself. So for me, again, I started with the mindset. For me, it took an ego death. And what that is, when I got hit with that, like, I lost all sense of self. Like, I lost all sense of my identity, because I didn't know what my identity was by myself. Up until then, my identity was always me and my wife. What did I like to do? Things with my wife. And anytime, it was announced, it was, me and my wife. So I didn't really know who I was after I lost her. So that's what I had to, work on. And that's what I had to go through. It was a super difficult time. And again, I didn't ever think that it was going to be anything other than that. So again, it caught me off guard, and I really had to, catch my balance and learn how to flow through life, the end of that year by myself, and manage. But hopefully, it doesn't take a major catastrophe or crisis or scare or something like that, for you guys to recognize the change. Hopefully the vision, or the hope of being able to become the best version of yourself, being able to feel the best that you've ever felt, being able to be better for your partner and your spouses, to make life even greater. Hopefully that's enough to motivate you, to get you going. and keep you disciplined enough to go through it. But even if it, even if you don't, even if you go through some things where it seems difficult, you'll still be able to, still be able to make it through. You just have to have be disciplined about it, and you got to be open minded when when we're talking about the brain and and talking about the mindset in order to be able to get through your evolution and become the best version of yourself. But again, for me, that meant once it hit me, for me that meant I went to work, consuming a lot of content on top of content, reading audiobooks. I must have watched 1,000 videos on becoming a better person, a better husband, a better father. Like everything that I can get my hands on that I can try to learn and soak up, because I don't know, I was dead set on making sure that I don't history doesn't repeat itself again, because being unaware of some things that you lack, or that you don't know, or that you can't do, it's frustrating in the end when you understand, or you come to terms with that was a part of what caused a change in your life. So I wasn't going to let that happen again. So I got to work on myself, and again, just consume content on top of content, and working on myself. But one of the things that helped me, or a book that helped me really like having an epiphany, or understand why I was feeling like I was, why I didn't really, when my wife was asking me for and telling me the things that she wanted or needed, why it didn't resonate with me. Of course, we both needed some help and some work on being able to communicate our thoughts and our feelings better. But for some of the things, it sounded like in simple terms, but I just couldn't understand, or didn't know why I was doing certain things. But that book was that I was talking about was Adult Children with Emotionally Immature Parents. I think it's by Lindsay Gibson, PhD. But that book, that audio book right there, helped me. And as I was listening to it, like I felt this I felt this weight come up off of me, and it helped me like understand things. And it was talking about you know my parents' parenting style, and their parents' parenting style, and how different things affect how you uh, communicate with people around you, communicate with your spouse, communicate with your children, and why you communicate that way, and why some things seem some of the things that seem natural to you doesn't seem natural to your partner, or your spouse. So it's difficult for them to understand. And it was just like, man, I tried to express that. I don't intentionally try to do those things. And I don't know why, but that book really helped me. So just consuming some material, and working on my mindset, and really trying to get a shift in how I think, and changing your verbiage, the words that you use, the words that you tell yourself. Negative self-talk will keep you from moving forward of anything. The verbiage that you play out in your mind, however you talk to yourself, is how you're going to be. So you need to start, if you want to become the best version of yourself, you need to start talking like the best version of yourself. You need to start speaking like the best version of yourself. You need to start acting like the best version of yourself. And the words that you use will help that quite a bit. So those are some of the things that that I did, that I feel like really helped me out. On top of that book, but yeah, just really helping me understand, and why I was doing the things that I did, and feeling like I didn't really know why. It really was a weight lifted off my shoulder, and I ended up um, writing a letter to my kids, or to my daughter, explaining that just throughout their lives, and they didn't have a bad life. I just felt like, as a father, not being able to get in touch with certain you know um, points inside me, or emotions inside me, wasn't able to give a good balance for them as they were growing up. But I just kind of wrote a letter to them, help them understand, and sent that audio book to them so that they can listen to it. To just try to get a better understanding of their father, so that they didn't really think of me a certain way, and can understand why I wanted to discipline, and why I was strict on certain things. But it definitely. This episode of the Be Better For You podcast, Becoming Better Human Beings, is brought to you by Life Force Wellness Center. Looking to become the best version of yourself? Transform your tomorrow. Choose not to dwell in the echoes of yesterday. Instead, claim a life of vibrancy, authenticity, and choice. Step boldly into your true self and embrace the leader within. Join our vibrant community where we champion each other to shed what holds us back and elevate our thinking. You stand at the threshold of greatness. One decision could open up the door to a future you've dreamed of. Let's make this year your year of transformation. Life Force Wellness Center. It definitely will help, and that's definitely something that you want to look at working on. But here's the thing, though. When it comes to all of this stuff, like I said, you have to be willing. You got to be willing to work on yourself, because it's going to take some work. But that work is going to be very well worth it if you continue with it and stay disciplined about it. Your brain's got to be open to change. Change is hard for people. People push back with change. People don't want change. They want to stick with what they're familiar with. And they always, majority of the time, they tend to gravitate back towards what they're comfortable with. And if that change comes, they're already pushing against it and not wanting to embrace it. So your brain's got to be open to that change. And this is actually what you're going to have to push aside what you thought you knew about yourself. Because we were filled with a lot of things at the time that we thought were right, that have been instilled in our mind and built up our patterns of thought throughout our lives. So it's going to be hard to get away from some of those things, and you're going to want to try to fall back into those things, but you just got to be disciplined and be ready to be open to changing your view of yourself, and changing your mindset. That's what I did to start off with, working with the mindset, working on my brain as I travel down this yellow brick road of growth. But next step for me was it was a difficult thing. It was the next step for me was trying to open up emotionally, because for over 40 years, like I hadn't been able to show emotions or any kind of vulnerability, like just based off of what I was, raised by. Like you couldn't. And even in today's society for men, like, they you have to be like masculine, and you have to be able to to provide, and they put this this level around you of what you need to be. And it's difficult for men to fall into the vulnerability case. You combine what society thinks with how you were raised, or men were raised. Of course, it's going to be difficult for us to get in touch with our emotions, and men tend to get penalized for that quite a bit, unless they have a partner that's willing to really, really work with them and really stay and help them get through those and find that emotional vulnerability and provide a safe spot for them to be able to do it. But yeah, that was my next step, is trying to get in touch with my vulnerability. But once once that old version of me died, along with that ego, and that ego was out of the picture, man, that I had I don't think I shed a tear since I was a little kid. And I didn't shed I don't think I shed a tear at my daughter's funeral, my first daughter's funeral. I don't think I shed a tear at my uncle's funeral. I didn't shed a tear at my grandmother's funeral that raised me. I just couldn't. I don't know, didn't have it in me. I feel like I wanted to, I just couldn't, you know what I mean? And just couldn't let it go. But once all of this stuff happened, man, I don't know, it's like the Hoover Dam broke or something, like, or just tears just wouldn't stop, man, for like 40 days and 40 nights. But man, but once it did get out, man, it was so liberating. It felt so refreshing and like freeing. All of that, all of that sadness, all of that grief, all of that weight, all of that pressure, all of those burdens, like, man, just flowed out, man. And during this, like, it took that hard time for me to be able to break through that. And again, once that happened, once those gates were open, those floodgates were open, and I was able to express those emotions, and get in touch with my emotions, and get in touch with the vulnerability. I feel like, again, like, I don't know, it just feels great. Before, I would, in my stores, I would go around. I would teach like self-development and growth processes, and how to become just good people, become good, genuine people. And I felt like I did a good job at that. What I learned now is that through being able to get in touch with my emotions and my vulnerability, the teaching now feels like it's going to be like so great, because I can put all of that emotion into those conversations. I can put all of that vulnerability, and share more, and give better advice. And I don't know, I feel like it just, the message will resonate so much better now that I don't have any limitations. I don't have any restrictions. I don't have any reservations about opening it up, and speaking even more. And I've noticed this just in, just in my work, on talking to some of the people there, and helping them through some situations, that I just say the thing, and I feel good about saying the thing, and I hope it helps them. It seems like it helps them, but man, you just have to get in touch with that vulnerability side, and be able to show your emotions, and not be afraid of what somebody's going to think of you, not be embarrassed, not be uncomfortable, and just let it, I don't know, just let it flow. And this is for everybody, men and women, husbands and wives. you know for now, I'm speaking with the guys, and I can't stress this enough, and especially if you want to become the best version of yourself, we need to express emotions, man. We need to get in touch with our vulnerability. It's literally killing us inside, because we hold all of that side inside, and it's bottled up with us. I read a statistic that, I think this was the last study that I saw. The most current study that I saw was like in 2022, but in the unaliving rates or suicide rates, men are 4 times likely to commit suicide than women. And the majority of those happen between the hours of 12 a.m. and 4 a.m. That's when everybody goes to bed. That's when the families go to bed, and the environment and everything gets quiet, but their brains get loud, and the loneliness rears its head, and we get lonely. I can attest to that. When I had everything bottled up, and the divorce happened, and the night times hit, and man, was it lonely. And those thoughts went through my mind, like, you know what I mean? Because I don't know, it just goes through your mind. It gets like super super lonely. So what I'm getting to is, again, just don't be scared, man. Don't be worried about what other people think. You're no less tough. You're still the same person. If you cry, or be sad, or be vulnerable, you're still the same. You're still the same person. It's like, if you were tough before, you're still going to be tough. You're going to be tougher, as a matter of fact, because I think there's something noble and valiant about a man that can show his vulnerability, be in touch with his emotions, but knows and understands if he needs to turn it on, he can turn it on. But you got to be willing to just, got to be willing to open up. Like, don't be afraid to do that. And you guys will probably start to see this after I say this. If when you're out and about or around and at work or wherever the case you may be. But I went to this gathering a week or so ago for this barbershop that I go to. The owner, who, man, they treated me like family since I moved down here, 2009. Like that's the first barbershop I went to, and been going there ever since. But they treated me like family. But he was finally retiring. He gave the shop over to the barber that actually cuts my hair. But they were doing a going away party for him. They wanted to throw one for him, and he was hesitant and didn't really want to do it, or didn't really want to come to the party or go to the party. So he was reluctant, but he ended up showing up anyway. And there were tons of people there to celebrate him, because he did so much in the community. And I don't know, just a super nice guy, a little bit older guy. But as he was going around, like, hugging, I gave him a hug, and just told him how much I appreciated him, and treated me like family when he first came, and wishing him luck. And as he's walking around, I could see him, tearing up, and tears get into his eyes. And he got to a table with some gentlemen that were about his age. And I could hear one of them, say out loud, now, don't start crying. No, I'm not trying to start crying. Just those little thoughts of what we were conditioned to believe, or conditioned to feel like a man can't be able to do in one of the in probably one of the saddest times that he's been in. He's probably been in there 20 or 30 years, and getting ready to retire and stop doing the thing that he loved, and getting ready to move away to another state, and almost made it feel like he can't show sadness about it, or cry about it. But I don't blame the guy who said that. It's just what we're conditioned. So what we're conditioned, and unless we break that habit and break that cycle, like, we're just gonna hold everything inside, and get frustrated, and it's gonna build up and turn into anger, and that anger is gonna come out unexpectedly. It's gonna come out at times when you don't want it to. It's gonna affect your loved ones that are close to you. When you walk around, people are gonna, say, why you mean mugging, or, um, why you're always angry. Like, those are the types of things that people think when they don't know what's going on inside you. When you store all that in, and you don't let those emotions out. And it's difficult, because you'll get judged if you can't open up your heart and be emotional and vulnerable. Like, you get put in this category where people aren't really going to understand you, and aren't really going to want to, I don't know, just maybe just be around you. And it just perpetuates that cycle of loneliness and sadness, and you store it all inside. You can't tell anybody, because you don't know how to express those emotions in a way that they would understand, or it comes off a different way. But yeah, just cry if you need to cry. Just get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Like, don't worry what everybody else think, because I promise you, it's so damn liberating. When you do it, and you do feel a lot better, because you let it out. You don't know how much weight you're carrying around until you are able to let it out, and just let everything, like, flow. And just, man, you just have to, got to be brave enough to do it. But yeah, I know, you just, oh man, Sorry, man. You just gotta can't be scared to do it. But so we're talking about opening up emotionally, and in order to open up emotionally, first thing we talk about is setting the mindset, getting the mindset right, thinking, already thinking about and acting in the way of the best version that you want to be. Doing your research on on good content, watching videos on how to be a better person, how to be a better father, how to be more understanding, how to be able to listen better, reading books. Um, the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. That's a guide that I use quite often. The first habit, which is being proactive. The fourth habit, which is thinking win-win, so that if you get into a conversation with your partner or your spouse or anybody, you're not always feeling like you have to win. You're looking for situations where you can create a win-win situation, so that both parties can be happy in the end. And if you can't come up with a win-win situation, then it's lose-lose, so that nobody's angry. But you look for the win-win situation. That's habit 4, and then habit 5 is seek first to understand, and then to be understood. So you can start with that book to get a good grasp on just getting in touch with yourself, and understanding from a different perspective, and being able to understand people and put yourself in the right mindset. So work on your brain first, work on the mindset. The second thing is going to be working on your emotions and get in touch with your vulnerable side, and letting all reservations go about what people are going to think about you, and just opening up more, and focusing on what would the best version of me do in this situation, in a sad situation. What would the best version of me do in this tough situation? Or like how would they respond? And you start responding like that. You start talking in ways that the best version of you would talk. As I say, blessed and highly favored. You start speaking that way. You start speaking optimistically. You start speaking empowering, and you start taking ownership of the things that you have going on, that you do wrong, and you start listening better. You start communicating better, and you start working on yourself more, and working on that self love. And just opening up your heart more. So the brain, the heart, is what you start on. The final step, for me and for you guys, which is a difficult step for some people too, is accountability. Um, you have to have the courage to look in the mirror and look inward, and take ownership of all your faults, all the mishaps that were on you, all the mistakes, the lack of work done. If your better version of yourself involves getting healthier, you have to look yourself in the face, and blame you for not getting up and getting to the gym, or getting an exercise routine on, going on walks. You just have to have that courage to, man, put your pride aside and open up your heart. Like you just got to put that pride aside, open up your heart, and then own up to all your shortcomings and your mistakes. But one of the hard things that is going to happen is that your internal voice is going to be telling you to go back to the old version, like go back to where we're comfortable at. Your wicked old version just is not going to give up. But what you got to understand too is that it takes courage, it takes discipline, it takes resilience. And if your old wicked version of yourself is trying that hard to keep you where you're at, to make you feel that it's that uncomfortable to change, it's got to be worth it. It's worth it then, because otherwise they wouldn't try so hard to hold you back. So get you some discipline, get you some courage, stay resilient, make sure your mindset is right. Um, Yeah, man, you just got to have courage, man. And again, that's difficult for some people to understand. It's difficult for some people to take ownership of their faults, and when they're looking at in relationships or looking at employment, looking at their jobs, and just to own up to things, man. It's hard. It's difficult. Like nobody wants to feel like they failed at something, or they're a failure, or that they can't do something right. So yeah, that'll be the third thing that you work on. But yeah, so as we journey down this as we continue to journey down the yellow brick road towards our best version, our own Emerald City, so to speak. Like I say, we're going to encounter some obstacles. Old habits are going to resurface. Misinformation about what we were told was going to try to sway us to go back. People are going to doubt you. Fear is going to appear. Self doubt is going to appear. But like I said, you just got to be resilient in your why, which is what that best version can do for you and for your life, and how it can change your life. Your why's got to be a resoundingly above and bigger than anything else that you have going on in your life. And I guarantee you that it's going to make everything in your life a ton better. Your employment, your conversations with friends, your communication with partners and spouses, your work ethic, your health. Man, like I promise you, it's going to be better if you stick to it, and you own up to everything, and you work on the mindset, work on the heart, and have the courage to continue going through it. As you as you go through this, like there's going to be some times that when it feels impossible to move forward, and that's okay, because I felt like that at times, but I was too I was too focused on not ever going back to the old version of myself. I didn't what I thought I lacked in the things I needed to learn and things I needed to do. I didn't want to be that person again. That person died with his ego at that time, and it created this transition, to what I feel like is my best version, and that's what's powered me through the end of 2024. Got me to I put the podcast on my vision board, and just went at it, because it's never going to get done if I don't make the decision to do it. You starting to become the best version of yourself or getting into the gym is never going to get done unless you do it. Like nobody's coming to pick you up and drag you to the gym. Like nobody's coming to pick you up and make you start your eating habits get better. Nobody's going to pick you up and make you start the task that you've always wanted to do. Nobody's going to pick you up and make you be a nicer person or become more vulnerable. I'm telling you that you don't want your catalyst to be you getting broke down, or your partner or your spouse leaving, or you losing your job, or a health scare or something like that. You don't want that to happen. Man, if you just really 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 focus on becoming a better version, and soak up the material and soak up the information, I believe anybody can do it, and I know anybody can do it. Just got to be resilient enough. Sometimes though, it's difficult for us to be able to do this journey alone. And I understand that there are certain situations. That's why I was saying a disclaimer up front. This is for informational and educational purposes only, to seek healthcare professional opinions and guidance. But sometimes you can't do it alone, and sometimes we have so much trauma and so much baggage that we had and that we've picked up over our years, and so much hurt and pain inside, that it does take a professional to help us with that, whether it's a therapist or a counselor, or life coach. But that's nothing to be that's nothing to be ashamed of. Like, you used to get put in this box, where people thought you were crazy, or people would say you were crazy if you sought help, or people would say, I'm sure you guys, maybe some of you guys ever heard this. I'm having a nervous breakdown. That I think that was in our culture quite a bit. That's like depression, and that's going on. Like those are those things. We just didn't have the words for them then, or we didn't understand the words for them then. But all of that stuff plays a factor in it, and sometimes it does take that professional help to get through it. Me personally, again, I'm not saying you guys what you guys should do, but I sought that, and it definitely helped me out and helped me work through some deep things that I had going on with me. Helped me see more. I still do it, by the way, and I love my conversations. And it does help you open up. You definitely have to be willing and willing to bare your soul and be completely vulnerable with them and be open and honest with yourself. Like be brutally honest with yourself and coming to terms and coming to grips with your fallacies and your beliefs, old beliefs, and what you thought you knew, and just swallow that pride and move forward. But you'll progress through it, and they'll dig through things with you and make you or help you to get through and come to terms and come to grips with what you had. But the beliefs and the things that we grew up with, like I was saying about seeking some professional help, that deters us, quite a bit. When it comes to seeking help, a lot of men, are really reluctant to do it. We're looking at those stigmas, and like I said earlier, that society puts on us. We're weak if we do, or we're not masculine if we do. We're not men, and man, it just like it doesn't make you want to. It doesn't make you want to do it because we already have a lot of pressures on us, and we already have to feeling like if we can't provide for for our family, or if we make less money, if we lose our jobs, or I don't know, all that stuff makes us feel inadequate, feel worthless, feel like we can't really do anything. We're helpless, and that just tears us down, continues to tear us down. So a lot of us, men won't seek that professional help, but it is increasing with more celebrities, coming out in the open and talking about their help and what they do. But some of that reluctancy is not unwarranted, for us. And in our culture, sometimes the areas that we live in are the I don't know, the healthcare and the services around those areas. Not to speak ill of any in the medical field, just in some of those areas is just not adequate enough, or just lack some of the tools, and lacks some of the things that we need to get us into those places and get us the help that we need. But we just need to definitely seek it if that's what we if we want to get that help. But yeah, that pressure builds up, and it takes a toll on us. But I share I share all that information with you, about not seeking help, and about the stigmas that we run into, and the battles that men face about feeling less than, or feeling not masculine if we have to seek help. I say those things because all of those things are things that are things in our head that we got to get past, things that just society says. Once we start really focusing on ourselves, and really tuning out the negativity, and saying more resounding yeses to the things that are going to make us better, and actually doing those things, the faster we're going to be able to heal and become the best version of ourselves. and be the people that we want to be, and be the people that our kids and our spouses and friends need us to be. And hopefully that sparks some interest in them to make them want to become the best version of them, their selves. But yeah, I share all that with with you guys, so to let you know that if you're going through something, like, you're not alone. Like, there's tons and tons of people out there. I was one. I'll speak on that. But like, you're not alone. There's tons of people that are going through this every day that are keeping it to themselves. So if the professional route is not where you want to go, speak to somebody. Like, speak to the group that you hang around. Speak to your boys. Now, they may not be equipped to, like, help you, but at least they can be like an ear for you. At least they can be there for you so you don't feel alone. But in order to grow and become the best version, you're going to have to do that work and seek that information, and really just set a mood, set a mindset. You get your heart rate and have the courage to say that I don't care what it takes, I'm going to become the best version, because the pros outweigh the cons immensely, and it's going to be worth it when I become the best version of myself. And I can only imagine the riches and the riches of the feeling, and the riches of the mind, and the success of the relationships. I can only imagine what that's going to look like once I become that best version of myself. So that needs to be your why, and that needs to be your focus, and that's what you need to use to propel you and motivate you to stay on that journey. Now, motivation alone is not going to get you there. It's got to be the discipline piece. So when you the discipline and the consistency piece, because when that motivation runs out, you still have to be disciplined to follow through. You still have to be consistently following through. So just make sure that you're focusing on that. And again, reach out. Let's change the narrative, about getting help becoming a weakness. Let's change the narrative about becoming emotional is a weakness. Let's change the narrative about being vulnerable is a weakness. If you get I'm going to say this, and you probably get some slack from it, but if you get around somebody, anybody, a man, woman, child, any person, if you get around them and they try to make you feel bad for showing emotions, or they try to make you feel bad for being vulnerable, and they say that that's a weakness, leave them. Cut them out, because that's not the type of person that you want to have around you. If you're on a journey for growth and you want to be on a journey to become the best version of yourself, you need somebody that's going to support you. You need somebody that's going to be there for you and going to walk along that journey with you and encourage you as you go along. We don't need any naysayers on the best version bus. Yeah, you just have to cut all that negativity out of your life. And it may be people that are very close to you. The end goal is going to be way worth it. And maybe they catch on after they see your change and your transformation and want to do it themselves. So again, for me, my journey started with my mindset. I moved into my heart, allowing me to experience emotions deeper, be connected to my emotions deeper, allow me to connect with my vulnerability and be more vulnerable and open. And anything that I have on my heart and my mind, be able to say those things and not wait till it's too late, by opening up my heart and becoming more emotional. And then ultimately just looking in the mirror, taking accountability. You owe you, like nobody else owes you anything. It's hard to hear, but you owe you. But what you owe yourself is a better life and a better version of yourself. I'm not saying that your life is bad. What I'm saying is it can be, if you're in touch with yourself and have that self-love and the best version of yourself and open and honest and vulnerable, you provide more potential to for your life to be even greater for you and your spouse. So it's that simple. I know it was a lot, um, but it is that simple. Just focusing and refocusing your language that you use, and refocusing your thought process, and working on that plan and being consistent with it. Simple. And it won't be easy. You just got to be resilient about it, but it'll be worth it. I guarantee that, and I know that. And I'd love to. I'd love to meet back here. You know, another season, and have people on the show that went through and made that decision to become their best version. I love to hear those success stories from them and their spouses and the people around them, and how they changed and how much success that they've experienced since then, and how much better they feel and how much healthier they feel. And I don't know, just everything that comes with that. I think I get to, I think I feel more happier for people when they succeed than they do sometimes. But that just, again, that's my purpose, to help people. And I just love that. So yeah, I appreciate, I appreciate, if this is the second episode that you're watching, I appreciate you so much for giving me the opportunity to chat with you, spend some time with you. And if this isn't the second version that you watch, I appreciate you. I appreciate you giving me the time and spending time with me for me to chat with you. And just, if you've been rocking with me from day one, I appreciate the confidence that you have in me, and the support that you give. I just wanna help people, and I'm here on my social media platforms, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. Leave a comment. I'll respond to you if you need some help with something. Leave your number, or call, or shoot me a text, or leave me a message, or leave your number, and I'll text you. Just whatever it is I can do to help. That's what I want to do. But again, I appreciate you for tuning in. Again, if this message resonated with you, please share the video. Subscribe to the channel so you get, and hit the notification bell so you get the updates when the next episode drops, or any clips drop. You're the first to hear about it. And understand that we're all in this together. Like we're all of the same race, which is human beings. And the Be Better For You podcast is all about becoming better human beings. And the quicker we understand that, and the quicker we work to become better for each other, the quicker you become better for you, the better our world is going to be, and the better our experience is going to be, out in that world. So until next time, thank you for stopping by. Thank you for spending time with me. Hopefully you enjoyed a nice, tasty beverage, nice cup of coffee curled up on the couch. And keep growing, keep evolving, because your journey down this yellow brick road, you'll be able to find your emerald self and be so much happier. Thanks for joining, everybody. I'll see you in the next episode.